These boys doing in the NBA, y'all. A sport that, like, I've grown up loving, starting to hate it. What's going on? What they doing, man? This is like wrestling now. This is like WWE and WWF and SmackDown and Raw and all that. What's going on, man? I don't get it. Wow. I mean, anybody can score 40 now. It's like they ain't playing defense. Now they got the instant replay thing going on where, you know, the refs didn't got so bad that they didn't started instant replay where you can go back and they can check out the calls. Like traveling, carrying, of course. They've been doing that for a while. What's going on? I mean, I don't get it. I can see the NBA being like a washed up league in about 5 years. I can see like us watching the boys play over internationally, like in China and Russia and all them other places, Spain and stuff like that. I can see us doing that for entertainment because a lot of these like American professional sports is just going downhill. I don't get it. I don't understand. I really don't know. I mean, like I said, I seen some of the. I mean, it's just going to trash. Like I done seen some of, you know, it's just too easy to score, and that's just like unheard of in the NBA. I've been watching the NBA for mostly all my life, and this is like the weakest that it's ever been. I mean, we had Michael Jordan, Dr. J, Kobe Bryant. Now we got LeBron James. We've had multiple talented superstars that came in and out of the league, and and then you got the Godfathers, the Bill Russells, Will Chamberlains, the Pistol Pete's, the Jerry West's, the Kareems, and so forth that they be flipping out. I guarantee they don't even watch this stuff. The ones that are still alive, I guarantee they don't watch the NBA. It's trash. It's as you can see, I turned my back on. I've been on this, doing this. I'd rather be doing this than watching that. This is the playoffs. This is a semi-final round of playoffs. Teams getting blown out and teams ain't coming to play, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why. It's like, and then of course, most of these players are making like millions and millions and millions more than the players that they came up watching and learning from. So that's a smack in the face because the Isaiah Thomases and Charles Barkley and stuff like that, they weren't making no real money, but they was playing their heart out. Michael Jordan wasn't making a lot of money at first, playing his heart out. And now they can see dudes, mediocre players that are trash, and they get out there and they just embarrass the league. Like, yesterday, Denver getting blown out, and y'all just won a championship the year before, and this one-man game type basketball that they playing is just crazy. And then you see some of the condition of some of the players, and you don't wonder why the league's going downhill. Just think about in the 80s and 90s how players looked, how they conditioned, and now look at them. And the fact that they've kind of took away like the true meaning of a center, so everybody's playing like guard and forward. And granted, I ain't taking nothing away from the talent part of it, but like I said, the way the league is played is different now, and it's just it's a disgrace to me. It really is. It's not playing defense, playing man to man. Just get burnt on a play, just let it go. Saying yesterday, I forgot who was playing, but it was a fast break play, and basically the dude just gave up on defense. And I was just like, wow, this is what y'all getting paid to do. Not giving 110%. There's no way. You can see it when players give 110%. I actually stopped watching regular season NBA because I figured that the only time it was good to watch was in the playoffs because I felt like they gave a little bit more. But now it don't even look like they're doing that. I'd actually watch more college basketball because of that. And I honestly think, this is just my opinion, that when they started drafting earlier, younger players all the time, it's one thing if you draft an exceptional player because they just like a man amongst all boys. But then they kind of got past that part of it. They started just drafting people just because they thought. And if you look at the statistics of probably the last 15, maybe even 15, I would say 18 years when that first started, you get the Kevin Garnett's, the Kobe Bryant's, the T-Macs, the LeBron James. Can't take nothing from them. You even get a Sean Kemp that was more than 20 years before. You get him. Okay, he was exceptional. But then you start getting like all these other players that came out that washed up, that were like, they get drafted, and then they wasn't just drafting them out of high school, they was drafting them in the lottery, or they draft them in the first round. So those are guaranteed contracts. So of course, yeah, everybody else figured that, oh well, shoot, if they drafting these guys, then I know I got a shot. And I think that's the philosophy because they got these other leagues, these elite leagues that you ain't gotta go to college. You just play in that. You get your GED and go over there and play in that league for a year or so, and then you enter the draft. And then of course it's a money game, so they're drafting these players. Now you got kids that look like they, sophomores in high school that's playing with grown men, and they getting paid more than them. And they getting paid strictly off of potential that don't end up panning out. I would say, and this is just a guesstimate, I would probably say 60% of these players that they're drafting early don't pan out. If anything, they might end up being a role player, but most of them aren't like superstars. The ones that are superstars go to college, at least for a year or so, and play tough, competition. Play people that can play. Not, it's like playing AAU ball and and then going to the league the next year. And the crazy thing is, I've seen some of these kids because I've done security at places where I think it was Under Armour came to Kansas City, and I was lucky enough to be one of those that did security for Under Armour, and they had Chet down there. They had pretty sure they had Anthony Edwards, but I seen like Juwan Howard's son. I seen Vern Maxwell's son. There was a lot of them. A lot of them from the last, I would say, 2 or 3 draft classes. And I get it. They big and strong looking and all that, but they still kids. And, now once they get to the league, now you start to see it. And like I said, every once in a while, every team got a couple exceptional ones, as they supposed to. But it ain't like those are the only ones that are getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. And like I said, this stuff is a disgrace to the league. Like when I look at the top 100 players of our generation, my generation, I would say. These most of these guys nowadays they wouldn't even stand a chance playing against them. They'd be embarrassed. Maybe like I don't know, like I remember when I was in high school and Anthony Peeler came in the gym and we were, we thought we could ball and this dude was shooting half court shots, basically with his eyes closed. We already knew. And then there was a guy named Derek Cheevis that really never panned out in the league, but he was like a superstar player out of Missouri that he was putting everybody on skates. And I think he was 6'4", 6'5". He was exceptionally talented, but we knew, just by then, like, yeah, okay, this is another level, a type of player. Like, yeah, ain't no way. Now I see why he's where he's going. You can't say that with these kids, and a lot of them just, they ain't taking care of themselves. And then the other thing that bothers me is that why are all the superstars on the bench in the playoffs? Like leaders of their team on the bench sitting. I mean, are you going that hard in the regular season where you can't help your team out in the playoffs? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like playoffs is important in any sport. And in order to get to the playoffs, you play hard in the regular season. But if you ain't no good in the playoffs, then what does that mean? I just don't understand. But I've been looking at these playoffs, and every time I'm like, all right, maybe it'll look better today. Maybe the games will be better today. And it never fails. It's disappointing. It just is. Like I said, granted, every team got about one or two really, really good players. But then when you hear about the stats and stuff, oh yeah, so and so hit three, what they say, three consistent 40-point games. And then you look who he's playing against, and you're like, I see why he scored 40 in 3 games. They ain't playing no defense. You can't touch them. But most of them don't even want to touch you. They just put their one little hand up, and that's it. They don't even guard. They don't even teach. I don't think they teach them how to play defense like they used to. They can't. Ain't no way they. Because if they could, I've yet to see full court press. I think I seen a little watered down version of it yesterday for like 20 seconds. And this dude, they had the center and a guard like trying to play full court press on one of the point guards coming down with the ball, and it was like the center just gave up and ran back down the court. It's embarrassing. That's why I said to me it's more like wrestling. It's like make believe, because at this point of the season, everybody should be playing hard. It should be lights out. The games should all be close. And then some of the games, I think they're getting to the point where they gotta keep them close. You know what I mean? So you can take that for what it's worth. Like you blowing a team out, but then all of a sudden it changed at halftime, and now all of a sudden it's like you're down by one or you're up by one, and the game's close the rest of the game. Yeah, nobody falling for that. Not saying that every team gets put away. But come on, man. Come on. Like, nah. Nope. Ain't no way. It's just like the NFL. We know when they get that phone call at halftime or third quarter or something, and it's like, yeah, all right, because ain't no way. But it's always been entertainment, but it used to be a little bit more entertaining. Now these sports they're not as entertaining as they used to be. It's always been sports entertainment, but now it's not as entertaining. And I just don't get it. It's disappointing, man. It's like people can't wait to get off work or Can't wait till the weekend comes, or can't wait till the night starts so they can watch these sports, and then you get disappointed. I mean, you just trash, like And then you got some of the players that they're only as good as the league is, and it's I wonder why a lot of our good players are going and playing overseas. You know, and you see all these dudes on the bench, and it's like you could have been in college balling out. You chose to come to the league early to sit on the bench. You could have been at college with an NIL deal, probably making as much, if not more, than you making right now. You sitting there looking like a scrub. I mean, we all have benches. I coached for a long time. I know how the system and the structure goes, but when you don't see a guy all season long, and then you see when when people do get injured, and they instead of bringing this bench guy in, they go and sign somebody on a 10-day or something like that. And you already know where their head is, or they send that person to the G League a couple times, paying out the G League. They bring them back, whatever, do that flip flop. You still never see them playing. You wonder, like, why would you put yourself through this when you could be balling out either overseas somewhere or in college still? Just why? So you can say that you made it to the league. I mean, is it good to say you made it to the league, or is it good to say I made it in the league? Because it's a difference. I got a friend that's been in the league. I mean, it's got to been 30 years now, starting as a player and now as a coach. But then I got other friends that, yeah, they didn't make it. They made it for a little bit, or they made a practice squad, or they tried out, or they just did a little bit of college and got injured. It is what it is. But why would you risk that? Just go coming out early, because that's the only thing that's going on. This last draft class, I mean, I didn't see. I think I seen one like upperclassman probably in the first 20 picks, maybe two. But outside of that, it was kids that didn't even think they could make the league a year before, and then they was getting drafted on draft night. I'm like, come on, man. Like, where is this crap coming from? Like, dudes that played on them little elite teams and scored 18, 10 points a game, and some GM thought it was a great idea if they brought them to camp, or brought them to try out and all that other stuff. Man, come on, bro. Then you got some college player that been playing his heart out for 5 years, 4 years, can't even get in the league because that's how it goes. It's all politics, and it's starting to show. That politics is starting to show on TV screen now. Think about what just happened. It was more people to watch the women's college championship than they watched the men's. And there's nothing against the women because they balled out, but that's the difference. That's what I'm saying. It was like, yeah, I want to see a game where they really playing. I don't want to see this foolishness on the screen. So I'd rather spend my time watching Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all them, and SC play than watching what's going on the other screen. Because honestly, college basketball to a certain extent is starting to get that way too, because they're looking at, they admire these NBA players, so they mimic what's going on in the NBA, and it's gonna be watered down for them too. That's why it's only. I mean, it ain't a wonder why all the big teams, even mine, one of mine at least, they didn't go to the big game. They was at home watching it because you got the one and doners every year, and you got to rebuild your team because they go into the league. and the league's foolish enough to take it. All the big teams, the powerhouse teams from 10 years ago, they have to rebuild every year. Duke, UNC, Kansas, you know, all of them, they gotta rebuild every year. That's why Kansas didn't make it to the Elite Eight or none of that stuff. They wasn't going nowhere because every year you got freshmen that's going to the league. They was already saying that Furby was talking about going to the league, and I'm like, come on, like, and it's like that at every big college now. Kentucky, they lost their coach. He got tired of it. They got tired of him. But it's a joint effort when that's what you encourage. What do you expect? You go out here and you recruit all these high-ranking high school players. They come to your school for 1 year and then they go to the league. But then you got the Villanovas and the UConns and those little schools, not little schools, but those schools that they don't normally, none of their players really go to the league that quick. They still go to the league, but they might go their junior, senior year, maybe some sophomore, but they're vested, they've learned the system. They learned how to play together. That's why it's not a wonder that New York, who has 3 Villanova players on their team that have played together and won a championship together, that's why they're so tough in the playoffs right now. That's a team that I can watch. They ain't no slouches, and they're all young and hungry. But some of this stuff on here, it's just, like I said, I hate to be Shaq or somebody that had to watch this day in and day out, knowing how hard he played and how hard he used to get hacked and stuff like that. I'd hate to be him. I'd probably have a heart attack by now watching, because it's nothing like it. So that's why when they crack me up when they start trying to make them comparisons about who's greater now versus then. Come on, man. Stop it. Just stop. Please stop. Y'all been traveling and carrying and, now you got the instant replay crap going on. And, no. The flopping don't even get me started on the flopping part of it. You can thank James Harden for that. He started that movement. But people start picking up bad habits because they see other players get away with it. You see a player flop and draw weak fouls every time they go up and down the court, and then they get a contract extension for not winning a championship. You got players on teams that make more money than players that have won championships. Giving them multi-extension contracts for what? For not making. You lost last year and you making more money than the guys that won. It's a disgrace. It just really is. It don't make no sense. And like I said, it's just, I'm telling you, mark my word, about 5 years, people going to be watching more of the international leagues. You're watching the Chinas and Spain and Argentinas and, all of those. And more players going to be going there. Kemba Walker went overseas, and I couldn't believe that. And then it just like more people start going, and I can see if your career was kind of done in the league and you had to, it was that time. But got some guys, they only been in the league 2 or 3 years and they already over there. And it's because they wanted to be. So I don't know, it's bad. Let me see what. Yeah, looks like OKC might have won this one. But yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate. I don't think it's gonna change, but It's a smack in the face to all the greats, the MJs and all them, the Dennis Rodmans. When it comes to defense, it's really a disgrace because there may be only 4 or 5 true defenders in the league right now. And yeah, I'm not exaggerating. There may be 4 or 5 because everybody's backing off, letting people do what they want to do, and as a defender, you're supposed to control your player, your opponent. You're supposed to control that person, as much as you can. If you can't hold them, get somebody that can. You switch up. That's what coaches are supposed to do. But just to allow players to do whatever they want to do, it's like a video game. It's like me holding a controller and my defender just letting me cross them over and go behind my back and whatever. And then I let him do the same thing. And that's what I see with this league. I see a lot of that. I'm gonna let you do you and then you let me do me. It's like the All-Star game this year. Like it was a joke. Well, guess what? That's how the whole league is. That's what you represent. It's all offense, no defense league. That's going to waste. Eventually people will get tired of going to these type of games. I remember I was watching the game one time and I compared it to like one of those Harlem Globetrotter games where that one little scrubby team, I think it was the Washington something, Harlem Globetrotters was always putting like 40 or 50 points on them. But that reminds me of the whole entire league. It's like, I'm going to let you watch you do what you do. And I'm just going to run up and down the court and, fumble and flop. And yeah, it's like a circus. It's like what they call it, Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. That's what the NBA is starting to turn into. And it's like all stunts and people flopping and people acting like they're getting ready to get in a fight, and then coaches running on the floor and not getting kicked out of games. Seen a coach yesterday cuss an official out up and down. He just walked over to the bench afterwards. Like that's what I said. Like this, yeah, a lot of nonsense going on, and it just looked like to me like everything's rigged and staged and stuff like that. If that's what it is, I would respect it more if you just call it what it is. But they ain't, of course, ain't gonna call it what it is because it's entertainment. That's the part of it. That's the entertainment part. They still gotta get them seats sold and butts in the seats. So, at the end of the day, it's terrible. It's a disgrace, but it is what it is. I just wanted to get on here because I watched it for like 10 minutes and then I turned my back on it because I'm like, here we go again. Day 2 of watching bull crap on TV. A sport that I've grown up loving and want to always be a part of is turning into like the worst sport ever. And I don't know what's gonna fix it. I don't know if it can be fixed, but it's pretty bad. Sad. So with that being said, now that the game is over, I'm gonna talk for 30 minutes. It was better me doing this than watching that game. I'm gonna get back to doing something else. And hopefully somebody heard me, which they probably didn't. But most of the people that I despise who play in the NBA, they're already at home. They're not actually in the playoffs right now. So I